HN Talk Show with yours truly, your host, the Dr. Nicole Lynette. You all know what time it is. This month we're celebrating men because men matter, fathers matter. And today we're going to be talking about fathers in business. And this guest, special guest, he's a father in business with his son. He's a family man, he's a visionary leader, and an accomplished problem solver. Y'all know we need those in the world, right? Recognized, look y'all, I didn't know this. He's recognized as a top operations and sales leader across multiple Fortune 500 companies for the last 25 years. And he has recently been appointed to the National Small Business Association Leadership Council. He'll tell you about all of that and what that means. He is the owner and founder of Modern Vintage Home Care Company, and they serve seniors, veterans, and individuals with disabilities. Without further ado, please help me welcome our special guest, the man behind the brand, Mr. Derek W. Thompson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. Wow, you know what? You are an amazing man. And I think for this season, I think we have so many negative narratives about fathers and black men. You are a black man. Mm-hmm. You are a black man, right?
Yeah,
okay, I don't know. These days, pigmentation doesn't necessarily. But we have so many negative narratives, but you have done so much and you have accomplished so much. And we're going to learn so much about that. However, now, the first thing I want to know is a little bit about your personal life.
All right.
Where did you originate from, or your family, your wife, whatever you want to share with us?
Well, I'm a pretty simple guy. Was born in Southern California, San Bernardino area. Okay. And then migrated to Texas, a little bit in the Lubbock area, but then landed in Amarillo. That's where I went to high school and college, where I attended West Texas A&M. Okay. There I played a little football. I was blessed to do that for a little while, but then most importantly, I had a chance to pledge the best fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi.
All right now.
And that's also where I met my wife for 31 years now. And so that's always a place for home. And then, for the most part, I'm the only boy out of 3 siblings.
Okay.
And let's see. I am a proud father of 2. Okay. And then lastly, I am a new G-Pa, and I'm ecstatic about that. So I got a new grandbaby girl. It's about 6 months old.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's been 6 months.
It's been 6 months.
And then I love the way you put that in there because, the stellar dude, the simple guy, right? Right. He's not grandpa. He's G-Pa.
G-Pa.
He's G-Pa. That's okay. Right. So you play ball.
I played, yeah.
Okay, what position did you play?
I actually played strong safety, little rover linebacker, and then I actually did some place kicking too.
Okay, all right. So you got a little kick in
a little kick in
your feet. Okay, awesome. And so your wife, what's her name?
Her name's Renee.
Renee. Okay, so 31 years.
31. You'll be 32 in a couple months.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations in advance.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe I'll have a marriage segment and say, hey, come on back. And let's talk about this marriage thing, 31 years, right?
I'll tell you, there's no secret sauce. It's just hard work.
Just hard work?
Hard work, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you being a simple man,
Yeah.
It can't be that hard. You're a simple man.
Learn to listen.
Learn to listen.
Learn to say yes, ma'am. Everything's good.
I keep hearing that. Okay, nice. Awesome. So you have your wife, and what's your baby girl's name? Your granddaughter.
Samantha.
Samantha. Mm-hmm. Okay. You didn't name her, did you?
I did not.
You did not.
Otherwise, she'd have probably been Derica or
something
along
right.
those lines. But that's another segment as well.
Okay, Derica. Let's see. Why would that be? Let me see. George Foreman has. George,
yeah, I was trying to do the George. That's right. Georgette, George, right? The whole
oh, my goodness. Yeah, you're a proud G-Pa. Yes, you are. So, I heard you represent your Kappa Alpha Psi. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was going to look all that up and try and bring you some heat, but I decided to digress. I'm not starting that. I'm not even opening up that box, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, I also recognize you play golf in your spare time?
I do. I try to hack with the best of them, right? I mean, I love being on the course. That's obviously an opportunity for me and my son to get away and spend time together because he loves to golf too. And my wife likes to golf when she can. So, it's one of those things where we enjoy getting out when we can.
Okay, awesome. So, in talking about your son, so he likes to golf. Dad likes to golf. So I hear things like father like son, but I don't think he'll probably completely agree with that. But he have his own identity. But that's a good thing. That is good time to bond and spend time together. And so your son, one of the reasons why I invited you, because we are talking about fathers and we're talking about men and how men matter. And it's important about leaving a legacy for your family, and fathers been models before their sons. And we're going to talk about that a little later. But your son, understanding he's in business with you or was in business with you. How does that work?
So first of all, I've got the two children. My son and my daughter, Jordan and Trey. They are both a part of the company.
Okay, awesome.
Now they all have their roles, and my son has transitioned to more of our IT manager. So he's doing some things to gain some additional experience through software development. But we definitely work very close, and he's still truly a part of everything that we're doing, from our automation and all behind the scenes. And then our daughter Jordan, she is our HR manager. So she handles our hiring, our recruiting. She keeps me in line. Right? You got to have accountability partner in business, and she's definitely one of them. So.
And why not a daughter?
So it's truly a family operation.
And family-owned business. And you've been in business how long now?
We're in third year right now.
Third year. Okay,
it's
awesome.
Hard to believe.
So this is not your first business, though, right?
It's not. It's we all have so-called side hustles, right? But this is actually my fourth business, and only the second I've worked in full time.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, according to the information in your history, you've been recognized by Fortune 500 companies and things of that nature, and you're a problem solver. I know that from personal experience with you, that you are a true problem solver and just a business-focused, man. And that means a lot in our society, and especially being an African American male, because our young men need to see more men like you, more men in business, more men that says, hey, this is how we handle things in excellence. Because ever since I've known you, I've always known you as a man of excellence. Everything you do is in excellence.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. I value that. And that is something we work a lot. I actually I coach 250 to 300 men every month. And it's something to hear, what I have to share with them. But it's really, I think it's even more impactful when a man can come in and be that example. And that's not just in the facilities I go to, but just in society. And that's another reason why I wanted you on the show, because when young men see this show and their mothers, maybe single mothers, because a lot of times mentors may not be directly available. But in this information age, you can go to the different social media sites, you can read a book or anything to receive that type of mentorship that you're looking for. And so to segue to my question, so are there any mentors or people who have influenced your life towards business?
That's a great question, and I'm going to answer it in two parts, because I think, when I think about my grandfather being a person who has inspired me personally, right? I think to me that is one that I can't ignore, because I think a lot of those characteristics and those traits are in me today, right, from a very young age. When I think about professionally or business as a whole, man, I'll tell you that the room is not enough to hold the people in it that have impacted me and inspired me like that. I learned at an early age that you have to put people around you. Your circle has to be people who are going to make you better. And so, I think about if you are what you eat. You remember that old cliche, right? You are what you eat. So if you're around people who gossip, you're going to probably be a gossiper.
Right.
If you're around people who don't manage their money well, that's probably going to be a habit that you pick up. So my goal was to always include and try to find people who can make me better, like-minded or better. And my goal is to be the dumbest one in the room.
Right.
So if you think about it that, but I think that's what's allowed me to transpire my business mindset over the years.
Okay. So basically be in a room where you can be challenged.
Absolutely.
Because usually things don't change unless they're challenged, and we grow with challenges.
That's right. We only know what
expand,
we know.
Right.
And so we have to desire and have a thirst for knowledge.
Right.
And knowledge doesn't always mean structured education. There's so much wisdom and excellence out there, to use your term, that we just have to look for it. And you also mentioned the disposable amount of resources that are out there for someone to truly latch on and want to make themselves better. And so you just have to have the desire.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's so awesome, because thinking about young men, I'm just on this quest because so many young men, a lot of times we impart to young women how valuable they are. And, we have certain things we want them to do. And it's just so much. I think about the young men because I'm encountering many of them daily, and they don't understand their value, their worth. And so when you say they have to develop a, desire to do better, I found that they have to know that there is better.
True.
They have to know that there is better.
You take me down to when you think about fathers in general, right?
Yeah.
Fathers, to me, they set the tone. They are the tone, whether it be, through discipline, through engagement, through how we solve problems, how we handle adversity. I truly think that all eyes are on fathers, whether they know it or not.
Right.
And our kids, they pay attention to the things that they pay attention to our actions, probably more than they do our words, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's probably what's been a big driver for me, is to make sure that I always am camera ready, right? Use that term, camera ready,
right.
For around my children, because I think they're watching and they're looking and seeking that knowledge.
Wow, Dad, I just felt like just dropping something right there, dropping the mic. When you said camera ready, not just for the world to see, but around your children. And I think that is such an amazing piece to a lot of the gaps in our society today, because it's easy to be pretentious, right? You can dress the part and look the part outside of your home, but what are you displaying and reflecting in your home? And I think that is, oh my God, that is that's a drop the mic. If I had a mic, I'd just drop it.
Well, I believe wholeheartedly we are the foundation, and whether we're in a household that's still married or not, those examples have to be set, and I think that if they are, I think that truly helps us shape our world into a better place, especially our communities, right?
Right. You just bring in all these nuggets when you say, even if the family, the marriage is intact or the parents are together or not, that role still has to be
absolutely
in place. And that comes with healthy relationships, maturity.
Yeah, exactly.
Maturing and understanding it's not about the parents, it's really about that child and what type of world we want to shape that child's mind around, and what we want them to see the world as. Because I think about when parents are not together, a lot of times you have the baby mama drama, baby dad drama, and all of that. When in actuality, when they come together and learn how to properly co-parent from a healthy perspective, the child still thrives. I have a brother right now, he and his ex-wife and the new wife, they all have created a healthy environment. And now my niece she's top in the military, she's successful, she does a lot of great things because she has a healthy community around her, even though the family was not together. So I think that's valuable, because even if someone's watching, they need to know that's actually an option. It's possible. You don't have to have a lot of drama, because we have to think about the children. We have to think about the children. And so to segue from that, I'm thinking, so how your dad, your daughter and son are part of your your business. How did that come about? How did you?
Well, I think it's actually, when I think about how we came about, obviously, I've always wanted something at some point of time in my life with my kids. That's always been a small desire of me. But the truth is behind, and when COVID hit in 2020, right, a lot of people were impacted.
Right.
They were impacted, their jobs were impacted, and we weren't immune from that. And so sitting around and watching, my kids enter the workforce at an early age and then all of a sudden not have a role, watching my company wanting to make changes that I was working for at the time, it just became a perfect opportunity for us to sit back and really think about how we can impact the world. Now, why we chose this particular industry is truly probably, I got to give it to my mom on that. Okay. So my mom has been a caregiver for 30 plus years, and obviously my wife's a nurse. I got a sister that's a nurse, right?
Okay.
So when you think about, we've been around this mindset for so long and really never paid attention and never really thought it would be an opportunity for us to impact as a family.
Okay.
So a little research, and we realized that there was definitely a need.
Okay.
There's truly a need, and especially for the years to come, and for those that need to be able to fill the need of providing care for a loved one of some sort.
Okay, awesome. So your children, back to your child, because I would love to hear this. So you proposed this to your children?
Not only did I propose it, we worked tirelessly.
Okay.
We stayed at our house, and it was pretty much a workshop.
Okay.
We did everything from creating our policies to the logo, the name, my kids, or what is our brand going to be about? What are we going to be about, right?
Okay.
And all that was done. I mean, we put in blood, sweat, and tears on this thing. But what was most impressive to me is watching my kids in that particular mindset, right? As parents, we get delayed gratification, right? And I truly believe we get these little nuggets of opportunities to just go, yes, right? And when they get older, it's a little harder, and they come maybe a little less, right? Because they don't have as many pageants to go to, or dance competitions, or trophies. But as an adult in my journey, watching my kids, right, have a business mindset, understand what integrity is, understand, what it is that they want out of a company, and then help me create it, and that will probably be the highlight of my life for a very long time.
Okay, well, you've answered that question before I asked it. Okay.
Oh man, I mean it truly is. It's it's one of the biggest blessings I could possibly never forget, and it will. I get chills just thinking about it and talking about it right now because I'm so proud of them and their impact.
Yeah, and that just speaks to legacy. Legacy, how it trickles down, is from generation to generation, and you all are in it together. So it's not just a legacy that's being left, but it's a living legacy because you all are living it in actuality right now. Yeah. So a lot of times we do talk about, I'm leaving a legacy. But, before we leave a legacy, we have to live a legacy. And that's a perfect example of what that looks like. And you too, out there, you all can start something. I tell people all the time, if you have a passion, you have a desire, and you want to start a business, start your business. Talk to your children. That may be a good bridge. A lot of these Gen Zers and all of that, they are business minded. They are focused. They don't want to do, like our parents and grandparents did, work a job 40 years and well, that model is really not a viable model anymore anyway. But I meet a lot of young people and they're business focused. They want businesses. They want to boss their own lane, basically. Yeah. So
I think what's ironic is that we just don't know how smart our kids are until we give them the opportunity and the platform to showcase it.
Yes.
And, and I think that there's just so many resources, and I think every generation will be smarter than their previous generation, right? But I think to me, just that was probably an aha moment, just the amount of passion and just I'm just going to call it the forethought into things, not even knowing, but just having the forethought. I thought was pretty impressive.
And I'm thinking, I love young people, so I just stuck on you. I like young people. I know you all right, but I love
Yes,
young
I know
people.
you do.
Your
I know you
children,
do.
and just thinking about that because the excitement that they get, that they felt included.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times what happens, and fathers are breadwinners, they're providers, and they go get it. They're on their grind, they're in a hustle because they need to provide for their families. But when a dad can pause and say, hey, let's work this together. I think that's important for children because that brings affirmation to them, and it also makes them feel honored because they're working with their dad.
Yeah. I hope they feel that way, right?
Well, I doubt if it's just all about the money, but the money is the bottom line. No, I'm just kidding. He's gonna make that money, but I believe so because there is a thirst for fathering in our communities. And to have a father that's there, and because what it tells them is you trust them.
Mm-hmm.
You trust them. And to be young people, like you say, they're smart. They're very very intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and they get a chance to not just show the world and others, but they get to actually implement that with you. And with you being having them in leadership positions, it's a sign of trust.
Yeah.
My dad trusts us, and I'm a daughter. I'm like, shoot, my dad want me to do something. It's like, yes, I will wholeheartedly do that because that's my dad,
Yeah.
right?
I think what's interesting is it's easy to give a title and
Mm-hmm.
tell them to go, but it's different when the team responds and you see them leading people.
Mm-hmm.
You see them actually, the way that they treat our staff, right?
Yeah.
The way that they are handling our clients.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the bigger picture because
Yeah.
it's part of how they earn the opportunity for more.
Right,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I know I told you when we started, this is about you, this is about fathers, this is about men because you matter, fathers because you matter, but the example, they can only reflect what you have provided for them to follow. The example. And I know you don't want to hear all this because you're not about you're about others. But at the end of the day, children reflect their parents. And the beauty of your children implementing the character and the excellence and the integrity with the staff and the clients and things of that nature, there's an example there. And it just didn't start when the company started. It started because you've implemented and you've been that example before them. And so that matters. And I shared, and I'm honing in on it because in our society, in our communities, we need more examples before their children because our children don't have to be behind the curve. Our children can be young men
Mm-hmm.
and young women of business and thriving businesses.
Yeah.
And so with that example, being a mentor, because it's not just being a parent, but being a mentor for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're seeing is fruit of the seeds that have been sown in their lives from when you said, you made it a point to make sure that, you were that example. So now you have the fruit. And so I know you're trying to be cool. Do we have tissue? Okay. So I know. But so the name of the company again is Modern Vintage Home Care.
Mm-hmm.
And with Modern Vintage Home Care, I want to hear more about how that name came about. What exactly does that mean and what it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear a little bit about the services and the solutions. But we're going to talk about all of that when we get back.
Sounds good.
All right.
As we advance in years, most of us will need a little help with daily activities. Modern Vintage Home Care is here to provide support to our seniors and their families. Our experienced caregivers are compassionate and ready to help. Whether personal care or handyman services, we're here for you. Call today to learn how we're redefining quality care.
Hello, and thank you for joining us once again at the Reach In Talk Show where Yours truly is your host, the Dr. Nicole Lynette. Again, we're talking about fathers. Fathers matter, men matter. And we have our guest here with us today. And he's a father in business. And let's just give a hearty welcome back to Mr. Thompson, Derek Thompson. All right. So, before we left for the break, we were talking about family and your perspectives, just in dealing with business generally, with family. And so, but I want to know more about your business.
Sure.
I want to know more about modern, and I get this mix because I always miss a word, and I think that's so rude. But but it's modern vintage home. I want to say modern day, but it's modern vintage home care. So you all provide services for veterans, seniors, and those with disabilities, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so let's talk about your business. So what type of services do you all provide?
Well, we are a licensed non-medical home care agency, right? So licensed by the state, and we're allowed to do what we call personal care services.
Okay.
And those services are the reason why they label them non-medical is because we are not dealing with any type of medical situations. We're not home health, but we are a part of the home health umbrella.
Okay.
So really, when you think about it, companionship, incontinence care, are some of the key pieces on how we divide those services into categories, because those skill sets are a little bit unique. And then regardless of whether those categories are split into those two, then we have a third one we consider to be more concierge. And that's really where our company has taken a turn, which is probably a differentiation for us to others in the market.
Okay.
But the concierge piece allows you to truly customize that care plan for your family. And that might mean non-traditional services on top of those traditional services. And the reason why that's special is because we actually would go out and find that particular caregiver for that family to do those things.
Okay.
And so it's, we use attributes as a match, to be able to try to put people together with some sort of commonality. And so that really has taken off more so than what we ever thought, just because that's been something that a lot of families have been wanting to have a hand in.
Okay, so you stated that you all will actually, as part of your concierge services, that if there's a need for traditional care, like nursing or something of that nature, you will all...
Well, not nursing. So nursing would be on the medical side, right?
Okay.
So let's just use a scenario. Usually grandparents have, reach an age, they just need a little help around the house.
Okay.
They're maybe arthritis is a little challenging for them and they can't necessarily vacuum anymore.
Right.
Or maybe even cooking to a certain degree may be tough. But they're still there mentally and they're still able to live at home.
Right.
So we can come in and fill in those service gaps for them, right?
Okay.
So that's usually 90% of what we do. Then you get into more complexities, like someone who needs personal care because they're bedridden.
Okay.
And so that skill set becomes a little bit more in demand in terms of hire, right? Education, training, because now you're turning and you may be transferring and things of those nature. So there's opportunity to come work for us if you just have a great personality and you love being able to run errands for someone, and then those who truly have a strong skill set that are looking for more complex work.
Okay. So I'm thinking when you said turning a loved one, does that include someone in hospice care, or?
We do. We work closely with hospice companies, home health companies, senior living communities, right? Those are where pretty much our demographic that needs that help usually resides.
Right.
So now we do have a specialized program that we call nurse delegation. It's our RN delegation program, but we really focus that for medication administering.
Okay.
So it allows us to be able to fill the pill box, to be able to manage that medication, helping that individual be able to make sure they don't run out. And we do that underneath the care of our registered nurses who oversee that particular service.
Okay. Okay, so you all have registered nurses that assist with that.
We do. We have.
Okay,
yes,
so
yeah.
do you all hire registered nurses?
We do, but it's not as common as we need to for
Okay.
those who may have a certified nurse assistant or a home health aide or just someone with great experience.
Okay. Okay, I know a few nurses, so I was just checking.
Possibly. As we grow, we'll always be looking for them because at the
Right.
end of the day, to me, that's a given service that needs to happen for us to truly be, just be valuable to a family all the way.
Okay. So what about the veteran piece?
Yeah, we
Veterans.
work closely with a company. We use a third party that does the qualifications. They're called Vet Assist. And what that does is that allows us to take all the headache from the family. All they have to do is provide us a few documents, and we
Okay.
can actually get an application completed for them through the Veterans Administration, and then they may have some benefits, especially if they served in a war at some particular time.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great benefit a lot of people don't know about. But instead, we just assume we're not qualified. But
Right.
I would tell people don't assume. Give us a call, and we can definitely get an application done. And worst case scenario, they tell you no, but at least you would know.
Okay, and I know we're not at the end just yet, but what would be that number if they wanted to maybe explore if they were qualified or to fill out an application? What number would they need to call?
So we're a little different.
Okay.
We don't take calls.
Okay.
We have automated text messaging systems.
Okay.
They can either text jobs or about to 832-662-8236. And that will take them through an automated texting system that will allow them to schedule an interview or schedule a call with our operations team to get more information. When you text that number, it's going to definitely give you options, whether you're looking for a job or you're looking for service, and those prompts will take you exactly where you need to go.
Okay.
And you'll be scheduling and getting on our calendars at a dedicated time to be able to talk through those services.
And that's the benefit of having your son as your
Absolutely.
IT tech and
That's
automation.
exactly right. Exactly right.
He handles that area. Okay, so we talked about senior services, the veteran services, and then there's disabilities. For disability,
Yeah, disability service kind of falls in between.
Right.
The only thing that we, require for someone that has disability care, that needs disability care, is that they're over the age of 18.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, we don't have a license to take care of minors.
Okay.
So, for instance, we may have, we do have a couple of clients that are in their 20s that need that particular care or need some sort of a concierge type care. And that's something we're able to do as well.
So have you found with your services more of the private sector or the public sector that's more exposed to your type of services?
We are primarily a private pay.
Okay.
And this is reverting back to the reason why that I joined the National Small Business Council, Leadership Council, was because I'm a part of the Healthcare and Human Resource Committee. Mm-hmm. We have to fix our Medicaid system.
Yes.
Our Medicaid system is broken, and it's not favorable for those who run a business. And so with costs continue to go up, you're just a nonprofit. And so therefore we only accept what we call selective Medicaid, because that is family members who are already doing the work that just want to, they want to get paid for what they're already doing, and they have a family member that qualifies.
Okay, so if we have a family member, let's just say have a grandfather that needs the sitting services, that needs the assistance outside of medical, then they can maybe talk to you all.
Yeah, because they're going to know if they have been qualified for so many hours of Medicaid, right? And at that particular point, they can either find a standard agency who's willing to do that, and a lot of times, if they don't find the right caregiver, or maybe they're just not happy with the service they're getting, as long as they have a family member that can meet the criteria of the state, then yeah, they should be able to, through us at least, we'd love to have them so that they can actually get paid for the work that they're doing.
Okay, that is a great resource.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Could be a great resource to the community. So is that some of the challenges? What are some of the challenges you find in your industry and area of work besides our healthcare system?
Yeah, I think challenges for this industry right now is finding solid people.
Okay.
There's never not enough business opportunities, but you can only do so much with the amount of staff that you have, right? So the caregiver position has been degraded for a long time. And we believe we are trying to be, at the forefront of wages, benefits, and those things like that to make it a true career option for that's viable for those, especially those that don't know about the industry. And so we're always looking to bring people in from other industries that have a great attitude, right? Willingness to be compassionate and want to serve. And but staffing is everybody's challenge, and that's outside of our industry right now. It's just finding people that really want to put forth a good day's work.
Wow. Well, I know I have quite a bit of listeners and viewers. So if you are one of those people with great personality, great work ethic, and you are looking, and you have a caring heart and you want to care for people, Modern Vintage
Look us up.
Home Care can help you out. So yeah, we're going to make sure we get that information to them, because there are people who really have a heart to care for others. And you want quality people who actually have the heart to do that, because to become a caregiver, it's a heart. It's a matter of the heart.
It's a tough job.
It is, but some people do it very well.
Yes, they do.
They do it very well. And so let me just ask you a question. So all the information that you've given us pertaining to your personal life, your character, your business practices, and your business ethics, in being a father, a businessman, a husband, what is your perspective, and what are some wisdom tips you can share with the father that may want to incorporate his children into some maybe a business or some type of venture that he wants to
Wow, that's a great question. I think one, it can't be forced, and I think, and when I think about our family model, right, there's a family model and business model. Our family model is very, very much a seat at the table. And it's been years that I've made decisions on my own, right, that impact everybody. So everybody gets a chance to be able to say their piece. Ultimately, I'm responsible, right? But I think it's great to be able to have alignment on anything that you do. So I would say, first and foremost, make sure it's not forced. I would say you have to be willing to create a little bit of a separate life there. So that's something we had to learn, was dad can be boss and dad all the time, right? And when you start to get other family members and spouses involved that don't want to sit around and listen to business all day long, right? So we had to learn how to shut that off and just be dad and not boss, right? So that took a little bit of a unique situation for us, but we've got strong leaders in our family that help us understand, right? And but I think ultimately those are probably the things that you got to do, is be able to separate, and then also don't force.
So basically, dads who are not in business with their children, it's the same scenario. You have to turn the office off when you come home. And it's the same thing when you're the boss and the dad. You have to turn office off when you come home.
And that is extremely tough, right? I mean, and I'll be the first to tell you, I used to think I was the king at multitasking. You couldn't tell me otherwise. I do 2 or 3 things at a time. But I had this wonderful, wonderful lady that lives with me that sat me down one day and helped me understand that I need to be more present, right? And that's still a challenge for me to this day. But I try to be very intentional with it, because I'm a thinker and my mind doesn't shut off. So I have to have those little nudges every once in a while of accountability that allow me to truly refocus, right? But it's difficult at times. So it's difficult. But at the end of the day, it's truly rewarding when you do it.
Wow. Well, being a visionary leader, you're always thinking. But I love the way you say, those little nudges of accountability, the accountability piece. And I just think it's remarkable that you have at least 3 accountability partners, your wife and your 2 children.
Absolutely.
I think that's amazing. But what's more amazing, that you don't have this air of pride that creates a resistance or offense that keeps them out of your life. So therefore, the entire family benefits. I think that's remarkable. And I think it's a good testament and example of how, I don't say perfect, but how healthy families flow. Mm-hmm. There are healthy families in our communities, and they're not just healthy families, but they're healthy family-owned businesses in our communities. And for you to be here and be an example of that, and for many of our viewers to see and hear, it speaks to, because you're a replication, you are an example of many. Because, we have to take this narrative and control this, take it back this negative narrative, and begin to share the truth. Because I know I've had some guests on the show, had some awesome men on the show, I forgot all the generations, but anyways, we've had grandparents all the way to Gen Zers that are doing remarkable things. Mm-hmm. Young men, yes, we have young women, but this Men's Month, but that are doing remarkable things. Yeah. And you all are, I used to, when I share and when I coach, sometimes I tell people, when you were talking about being I don't like saying dumbest in the room, but if you want to say dumbest in the room, but you want smarter people in the room. Why? Because when it looks like people are walking on water, they're not walking on water. They just know where the stones are. And if you actually follow their leadership and begin to inquire, they can show you where the stones are. Mm-hmm. And you can begin to look like you're walking on water too. So the mentorship piece, the examples in our communities, I love our show because a lot of times we see things at the surface level. But we have to look a little deeper and say, okay, wait a minute. Because I know just in business has, every business has challenges. And then even just talking about the partnership of your family in business, mm-hmm. how you have to make sure that those boundaries are there. Boundaries. That's right. And that's not always easy. And men are the head, so,
I think the majority of it's just excitement, right?
Yeah, right.
But there's many other topics of interest that other people want to talk about. So we have to share the room.
You have to share. Sharing is caring. And you said you was the only boy mm-hmm. in your family?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And how many sisters?
I have one now. We had one, but she passed away.
Okay.
So I have a younger sister.
Okay. Okay, but you grew up the only boy.
Yes.
And were you the baby or in the middle or the eldest?
Well, I was the baby until my little sister came along.
Sound like I'm feeling some kind of way a little bit. Don't
Yeah, no. So I was a baby until my little sister came along. Because we got a 10-year age difference, but yeah, so definitely middle.
Okay.
But that didn't middle or older. It doesn't matter.
It didn't matter because you were the only one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking about, you still have that leadership role. You're the boy, you're the brother. So whether you're the big brother, little brother, you're still the brother.
That's true.
So there's some responsibility that came with that. Yeah.
And that's something I love to lean into, right? That's my DNA. Yeah. And I don't want anybody in my family to have to worry about a thing. Yeah. I got them.
And that's remarkable all by itself. Wow. So we're going to get ready to close, but I want to ask you this question. Two things. Well, I guess I want to ask you two questions. One is, if you were to think back to your 16-year self, mm-hmm. what word of advice pertaining to fathering and business would you give to your 16-year-old?
To my 16-year-old. Probably one phase would be don't sweat the small stuff, right? Okay. When I think back at 16, everything seemed to pierce. And my wife and I have this conversation all the time when our kids were teenagers, mm-hmm. was that just because we went through something more difficult than what they did doesn't mean that their feelings are not the same as ours were.
Right.
And so I think what that does for me is it helps me to kind of try to be more understanding, right? So at 16, it's hard to be understanding, right? You have to build that trust. But today, I would tell that 16-year-old that, just don't sweat the small stuff, because there'll be bigger things to worry about at some point in life.
Okay, awesome. So is that your business and personal side, or is that your personal advice?
Oh, I kind of think they fit both.
Okay.
I'll end it with this. We have to make decisions every day, and problem solving is one.
Right.
But I think that if we don't learn how to problem solve and learn to have those tools in your toolbox, that little molehill can be a mountain, right? But if we understand and we see it, it's almost like the game slows down, right? You see the ball coming slower at you when you have the tools in your belt. A lot of times you can dodge it, you can catch it.
Right.
But when you're not prepared, it just seems like life's coming at you fast. So it's just getting those tools to be able to handle that adversity, no matter how it comes.
Right.
So yeah, don't sweat the small stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Don't sweat the small stuff. So now that you've been featured in Fortune 500 magazines and
no,
not magazines, for Fortune 500 companies, and you've been just recognized with great successes. What's your next move? What's your next move? Whether it be spiritual, whether it be business, family, health-wise, what is your next move?
Well, business-wise, I hope to bring all of that experience and to teach, our kids, how to be able to continue to grow this business. Right? We're always looking for finding solutions for our client base to be able to stay at home safely. Right? So nothing really out of the ordinary there. I think we're going to stay in that lane and just try to work it the best we can. Personally for me, I think my focus is on my evolvement as a husband, a father, and now grandfather. I think that, when you think about it, and the reason why I say evolvement, because I think we always have to evolve, right, to be better. The father that I was when my kids were small, I don't need to be that father. I didn't need to be that father to them when they were teenagers, and so now they're grown, making big decisions of their life. I need to figure out what do I need to be to them.
Yes.
And this, because we're in another part of our journey in our 50s, right? So being able to just evolve that and hone that craft, and what I'd probably end up just saying is just be able to feel good about where we are in this journey and how I can support, those 3 lanes, because they all need something different, I'm sure.
Okay. I'm going to have to bring you back for our parenting courses too, because that information you just shared, it's so important for parents to understand that you have to evolve with your kids. You can't, keep treating them like little Johnny and little Susie, because they're growing. So you have to grow as well.
I truly believe that. We didn't do all that hard work for them to get older to not want to trust in us or talk to us or bring us those things, right? So I think it's important to stay relevant, and I think that's the cohesiveness of a family as a whole. We're very close knit, but it doesn't mean that we can't be better. And,
Right. And then you also have to trust what you've imparted to your children.
Absolutely. 100%.
You have to trust what you imparted to
If you
them.
trust that, then it's okay for you to evolve into something different,
Right.
Because you don't need to continue to be here to manage that aspect of it. So
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, so clients that would be a good fit, if they qualify for modern vintage home care solutions, would be veterans, seniors, and those with disabilities over the age of 18. Correct? Okay. And you all are you hiring?
Always.
Always hiring. Okay. So we're going to make sure we get that information to our viewing audience on how to contact them, how to contact your company, because people are looking for opportunities, and opportunities are looking for people. And I know modern vintage home is one of them. But Mr. Thompson, it has been a delight to have you on the show today.
Well, thank
I
you.
pray that we did some good service for your company, because I think it's remarkable what you do. You know, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
And our world needs more of that. And your company is really a great replica, well, a great example of what that looks like, because there are so many demographics of people who are suffering without proper care, and that ought not be. So I commend you and your family. I thank you for being the example of a man that is valuable to not just your family, but to our communities. I appreciate your service that you've given. And I know you're valuable to your wife. I talked about your children. I talked about the business. But, you know, I know your wife is remarkable, because your wife is a reflection of you. And if your children are reflecting, I know your wife is reflecting. She's still with you. It's been 31 years.
Hey, yeah. I can't, and you know, it doesn't even feel that way. It really doesn't feel like that. But yeah, we talk about that all the time. It's like, man, we've been together a minute.
Oh, wow.
It's good, though. It's
Okay,
never
well,
a dull
that's
moment.
great. That's great. Well, I would like to thank you again so much for joining us on Reach In Talk Show today. I know that you all are going to do great. And
Thank
I
you.
just know that your business is going to expand more. And I'm looking forward to the stories and the testimonies and all the excitement. Go, you know what happened? And yeah, because I pray that Reach In is part of that, helping in that expansion.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Well, y'all, that's it for today. Look, if you're looking for employment, if you're looking for just an opportunity to provide care, or you need the services, make sure you reach out to Reach In Talk Show, and we'll make sure you get that information to contact Mr. Thompson and his company. And until then, reach in.